Good evening, students. Today we will be discussion about what is IP address. An IP address, an internet protocol address. So why we have requirement of IP address? IP means a full form of IP means internet protocols. Why you have requirement? Suppose you want to communicate to other persons through any media. There have requirement of any information. Suppose you want to contact with your phones, contact with phone through friends, at that requirement of any phone numbers to communicate to each other. But here is that you want to communicate one device to other device, you have requirement any address. Every device have some IP address, whether in computers, whether any camera, whether any device, electronic device, there have any address. It is unique address, and which point out the device. And computer network use internet protocol for communication, and there communication between one and more device. The requirement of IP address. It serves as an identifier that allows device to send and receive data over net, ensuring the data reaches the correct destination. Means data अच्छा से or means where place and where your communication this place your address or your communication is possible through IP address. Without IP address you cannot communicate your any devices. The IP address can be classified. There are IP address divided in separate part. Here it basically IP address divided IPv4, IPv6. IPv4 is a communicated IP address that consists of 4 sets. There are 4 sets available, and there are separated with dot. Here is that given an example of IP address 192.158.1. Means 198 is the part, 158 is the part, 1 is the part 1. That's why here is the point out that IP address. And how many characters? 0 to 225 character is available in IP address, and it support over 4 billion address. Here is that structure and broken down in 4 billion address, and 4 octals representing 8 bits, and 0 to bytes can be take value from 0 to 255. That is the IP4. This range divided in possible combination of 8, 2 to the power 8, and 250 combinations. Next example is that here IP4 is the example 192 is the first octal. There are 4 part is that. Here is that discussion here 192.158.1. 190 means this is the first octal. A second octal is the 168. 1 is the third octal. 1 is the fourth octal. And each part of the IP address can be indicate the various aspects of the networking configuration. The networking itself specifies the device within the network. In most of cases, the networking their address represent the first 1 and 3 octal, while the remaining the sector identified first. This is the IPv. This is then we go to the IPv6. At the IPv6 address where the created deals with the storage of IPv4s. They have 128, but IP4 is that 250 0 to 250. But how many bits there are? Here is the 32 bits and 2 to power 8 means there are 16 bits. Here the 32 bits is that, and 122 bits, and 32 bits instead of 122 bits instead of 32. Here is that IPv4 is that 32 bits. Here is the IPv is that 120 bits, and it greater possible the addressing of the 8 groups, 4 hexadecimal digit, and the groups are representing 16 bits, and group are separated by colons. how to colon 200 2001 colon 08B 8 colon 85A3 colon 0000 colon 000 colon 8A2A colon 0370 and 73 body. So how many group here? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 group, but in our IP 4 is that 4 group. Here is that 8 group, and each group like 201 OD 350 and represent a 16 bits block of the address. Best use of IPv, and then you have divided. There are first part basically divided IP4 and IP6. Here the next part is that public and private based IP address. IP address is the public IP address is that assigned on every devices that directly access to internet. The address unique address enter the internet what the character of the IP address. But in our public means there are written otherwise is basically actually divided IP 4 and IP6. Next part is the two part group is the best use on IP address public and private. Public IP address every device directly access the internet through unique address, enter the internet address as character and public IP. Uniquely each IP be globally unique. No the devices two devices on the internet can have same public IP at same time. And unique means there is no same, there is the difference means their IP address are separated. Here is there is suppose a mobile number also be separated because unique. Here is the IP address unique which point out the device, and accessible device with a public IP address then can be accessible directly from the anywhere the internet accessible in the firewall and security. Firewall means high security maintained, means there is the hacker and tracker cannot be point out cannot be hacking the track. This is more secureable and assign the IP address public ISP. ISP means internet service provider who have given internet services to you. That is the IP address and the internet services. And when internet through ISP you can device routed receiving public and IP address. There are type of IP address and static. Then other type of the static and static means there are permanent assembly device means those one device allotted IP address that is the static means that changeable not changeable. Dynamic were changeable, some IP address is allotted for a certain period of time, then other IP address allotted soon again other purpose, then assign will change over the. Here is the public IP address typically services hosting the website in email address, email server and in other devices the web accessible internet for the instant the cost of website over on server IP must be. Here is the Google server, Google email, Gmail, that's what type of IP address that are public IP address. Okay, next part will be discussion on next